Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today I'm asking the question, how do we combat society's lack of trust due to bad information and fake news? And I want to trace the roots of this because I think this is actually very fascinating. And a lot of this comes from an article that I just read from Yahoo News, which I believe was Associated Press. Now, we are coming up on the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, July 24th, 1969. If I'm doing the math right, is when basically Apollo 11 landed on the moon in the Sea of Tranquility, or did it? And a lot of people didn't necessarily believe it. Now, in 1969, according to polling, about 1 in 20 Americans doubted what they were seeing on their television screens. And in the year 2000, Gallup did a poll, and mind you, we are 19 years off of this, that about 1.5 out of 20 Americans, so from less than 1 to 1.5 out of 20 Americans, actually no longer believed that we landed on the moon, that it was faked. Now, here's the interesting thing. Gallup just didn't stick to the United States. In the year 2000, 6 out of 10 Russians believe we faked it. 25% of British people did not believe the landings happened, and 9% of the French thought we had faked the whole thing. Now, what makes the moon landing basically the roots of this is the first time in history that a conspiracy theory was built entirely around the visual interpretation of a media event, which basically they're all denouncing as entirely as a setup. And so, in other words, the photos, the video, and the moon landing was fake. It was the first media event that people believed was fake news. And since the year 2000, especially in the last 10 years, we've seen an absolute explosion in conspiracy theories come out of pretty much, I don't want to say nowhere, but we've got a lot of people purveying these things. So fake shooting, or in other words, like school shootings that are fake that are actually employing crisis actors for this. You can find conspiracy websites on that, theories on vaccinations and all of this, global conspiracies about, on and on and on and on and on. And I'm sure I'm going to get some messages or emails from people saying, what do you mean? This is absolutely real and all of that. I'm not knocking your beliefs. I'm just saying, let's all do our homework here. But here's the thing. In this climate, in this foundation where we are looking at multiple media events and we become more and more skeptical given evidence. So, for example, we can look past 1969 to say that trust was broken in the U.S. government when Richard Nixon was impeached due to the Watergate break-in. And, we've got a lot of various media outlets, I don't necessarily want to call them news outlets, that pretty much go to town and perpetuate conspiracy theories, whether they're real or not, and all this kind of stuff. And so in this backdrop, me as a cybersecurity professional am trying to tell you, the viewer, hey, you need to secure your stuff. You need to, be more secure with your life and all of this. Take these things for granted. And am I looking at this, or are people looking at me, or people like me that are trying to deliver information about this saying, oh, this is completely fake? The latest one being in my job in terms of the biggest news would be the Russians hacking the 2016 election and influencing and all of that. And there is a large swath of the population that believes that they had no interference whatsoever. That is obviously up to interpretation. I'm not going to sit here and debate what they hacked, what they influenced, and on and on and on and on. I've written on this. Feel free to look that up. I am just simply saying, in this framework of conspiracy, in this framework of perpetuation of, let's say, news and hyperbole, without factual backup, are we running into some serious problems when we are legitimately trying to educate the planet on, let's say, cyber threats, or could be vaccinations from a scientific double-blind study, or whatever that is? I think it's something that we're going to have to answer, because if we continue to spiral in the direction where fake news is perpetuated and accepted as, let's say, well-researched, and factual news, I think it's going to cause harm in the long run. I look at what I go through when I write an article, whether it's for Forbes or Michael Smerconish of CNN, and I have editors. I have those people that verify links, that try to make sure that everything that I'm putting out there, unless I'm stating my opinion, everything that I'm doing, my research is backing it up, are coming from reputable news sources. And I think that's a lot of times what doesn't happen on many sites that have one view or another, or are trying to perpetuate a worldview while, let's say, shunning a good chunk of evidence that might contradict them, as opposed to having that open discussion. So I think it's an important topic. Like I said, I'll stop rambling to you here, but it is, I think, something that we need to address, and we need to have an honest conversation, not pointing fingers at people that believe fake news or not fake news, or that fake news is real or real news is fake, whatever that is. I think we just need to have that conversation and figure out how we can create a standard, some kind of uniformity that allows us to check our facts. It allows us to ensure that as we are putting out news, it is actually accurate, it is actually factual. And I'm very curious to hear your comments about this, good, bad, and ugly. And please feel free to tell me I'm part of the Illuminati or something. I've gotten that one before. So anyway, that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.